Hey guys, welcome to a special New Year's Eve Liquid Courage episode of Banter Bets and BPL. We're here with some of the loyals, Brother Keegs, Sandy. Sandy coming off a winning week, big week for him. Bill, our father, coming off a big losing week. I don't even know how he managed to lose so much money betting such a little amount of money, but I'm sure he'll explain it. And Chris Pike here for pure banter. He's going to put the banter bets and BPL on this one. And this is actually a special episode, guys. We're doing very much banter, very little bets, and very little BPL. This is going to be, we're going to give you guys some bets because we know you want some winners for to start off the new year. But after that, we're going to go through some fantasy stories, some real life soccer stories from all of our amateur careers, and hopefully have some laughs and tell some funny stories. Hopefully you guys like that. So we're not going to waste any time. We're getting straight into the bets. Sandy, coming off a plus 20 week. Good on you. Your backup was up against the wall, and you fought it off. Sandy, who you got? Just hit me with your bets.
You're feeling great. Starting to see the games real clearly. Watch out. Don't let me get hot. So this week, I've got Sheffield to beat Palace. I'm gonna go with Wolves.
Sheffield to win must be a drinking word, eh?
Yeah.
Won't be enough of those.
It'd be quite a sober podcast if that was a drinking word.
I'm gonna ride my guys Burnley to 0. Best bet going. Hottest bet going right now.
Burnley to win to
0. I'm gonna take and then I'm gonna go with City. And I'm gonna take a parlay of United, Everton, and Arsenal.
You're taking City when all their team has COVID?
Yeah, Ewing effect.
Ewing theory, yeah. Best players out. All players out, they're going to be better. All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
That was pretty slow. Sandy must be well into the booze already. I'm going to go with the parlay of Manchester United to win, West Ham to win or draw, $10. Leeds to win or draw against Tottenham, and Sheffield United to win or draw against Palace, $10. Wolves to win or draw against Brighton. Wolves the underdogs, by the way. Weird. And Fulham to win or draw against Burnley, $10 on that. There's my three parlays. Let's move right along. Brother Keegs, what do you got?
Yes, sir. Sorry, I wasn't expecting me to be next. Might as well let Bill fire his off.
All right, Bill, what do you got?
Okay, I have a parlay with both Everton and Man United to win or draw in their games. $5 on it. Another $5 parlay. The Spurs and Leeds game is going to go over, and the Palace and Sheffield United game is going to go under. I have $5 on Arsenal to win straight up. That's my lock of the week.
That's lock of the week.
Yeah, and my shoe-in of the week is a parlay for Leicester and Chelsea both to win or draw.
Wow, that is some real value. He not only gave us a lock, but also a shoe-in. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brother Keegs, you got bets?
Yeah, I have a pretty sleepy week, to be honest. Long day at work. Thought of these on the spot. We'll go Man City and Liverpool in a $5 parlay. A draw between the draw specialists, Brighton and Wolves, and Leeds to beat Tottenham, because that would be fun to watch. That's all she wrote.
Fun team versus not fun team. Fun team wins. Coach Cam couldn't make it tonight, but here are his bets. Looking at these bets, I can't believe this guy beat you out, Pike. How did you let this guy beat you in betting, buddy? He's got $4 on Man City to beat Chelsea, parlayed with Villa to beat United. He's got $4 on a Leicester, Brighton, Crystal Palace parlay. None of those teams belong in parlays, let alone all three of them in the same parlay. $4 on over in the Liverpool-Southampton game, over in the Chelsea-Man City game, over in the Tottenham-Leeds game, and under in the Burnley-Fulham game. He's got $4.20 on James Ward-Prowse to score. Boyd, if he doesn't start. That might be one for Pike. He's got $4 on a 3-goal scorer parlay, El Ghazi, Bamford, and Sterling. And that's what Cam has. So you can look forward to Cam winning none of those bets. Dad, so actually, before we get into it, Dad, I was gonna say, you bet next to no money and you somehow lost $20. Is this why you quit Proline all those years ago?
That is exactly why I quit Proline all those years ago.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to bring you guys up in the luxury that you brought up in.
So I did want to highlight, Bill had a special bet last week. It was $2 on Chelsea to win or draw. That is one of the bets he hit for a payout of 36 cents. So
Yeah, I
unfortunately,
didn't
that
see any of
36
the odds, I just made the bets. I didn't know
Yeah.
any of the odds.
He doesn't look at odds. He just looks at what he knows is going to happen. And he knew that was going to happen. That's 36 cents he didn't have before the week. So we can bank that one. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get him in the
I
positive.
went from a medium to a large coffee.
There you go. If that. All right, guys. So let's get into some of these topics here. We've all been in the same fantasy league for 4 or 5 years now. I think we've been doing draft for, this might be the 4th year of draft. Before it was the money one, which was kind of fun, but I think the draft is much better. Give me some fantasy league memories, some fantasy league characters, whether it's guys in our league, whether it's awful draft picks, hits, misses, steals of the draft, drops that you never should have dropped that guy, pickups that you never should have picked up. Who's got Keegan? Do you got something for me?
Yeah, I got a couple, but first one's a bit of a handoff to you, Liam. Do you remember before we did the draft, so you can captain players? When I was younger, you know what story I'm getting
This is
into.
a good one. This is a great one. This is probably 2010-11. Keegan was 10 or 11 years old because he was born in 2000. Yeah, I know what one you're getting. I love
You
this
tell it
story.
because you probably know it better.
Oh, yeah. So this is 2010-11 season. Manchester United was really good. And Keegan's fantasy strategy was to captain the player who got the most points the week before. So regardless of fixtures, regardless of anything, captain the hot player. So I remember Wigan had a defender. I think he was from Paraguay, Antolin Alcaraz. Paraguay, something like that maybe. And I guess he had scored a goal the week before, so we had like 15 points or something. And Keegan, and then they're playing away at Manchester United. The last Sir Alex Ferguson, good Manchester United team. And of course, United, and so he captains Alcaraz away at United, and Alcaraz gets a red card, concedes 5 goals, ends up with -3 points, which gets doubled to -6 for Keegan. At the end of that strategy.
That was a tough lesson learned for a little kid, but
Yeah.
another good one. Doesn't have too much fantasy relevance, but last season, me and Cam made a couple of trades at the start of the year. I sent him Soyuncu before he became the gem that he later was in the year. And then after the lockdown ended, probably almost a calendar year later, I'm playing against Cam on one of the last game weeks in the season, and he still has Soyuncu. And that was the game that Soyuncu conceded. I needed Soyuncu to lose his clean sheet for me to win that game. And if you guys remember, they concede. And then not only do they concede, Soyuncu runs into the net and just kicks someone from behind, straight red card.
Yeah.
That was a good one for me.
Yeah, because that was a big game week. And if he'd have kept the clean sheet, you'd have lost, and it was big. But then he conceded the clean sheet, kicked Callum Wilson, got a red card, and they ended up conceding 3 more. So they ended up with like negative, I don't know, 2 or 3, pulled in Alcaraz.
So that was a big moment for me. And then his name's gonna get thrown out sooner or later, so I might as well take the blame for this. But this is our section focusing on brother Kieran. The self-proclaimed most unlucky fantasy player in history. I mean, it's just painful watching him watch soccer games when all that's happening. It's like a United game, and he's supposed to be cheering for United or something, but he has a midfielder on the other team, and then United scores a goal, and he goes, "Oh, I'm so unlucky," as if I lost that 1 point from United scoring.
Yeah, as
Only
if Harvey
me that
Barnes
would
just
happen
lost
to.
his clean sheet.
Oh, Aguero scored. Who'd have thought that? Why does he always score whenever he plays me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's playing against the best striker in the league. Yeah, the other guy is Kane. Of course, Kane scored this week. But playing against me, put up 6 points against me. I'm the unluckiest guy ever. And maybe I think we've touched on Kieran's trade this year, but Dad, what was the trade? Because he sent it to you. I don't know how you swindled this one.
Well, you know what? it hasn't worked out for me either, though.
No,
But I was looking great for this year. I had Jimenez, Danny Ings, and Brewster up top. Brewster turned out to be a bit of a flop.
As if you just said
but,
Brewster before Hoda.
Yeah, and I picked up Jota. I drafted him thinking, oh, he's going to pass it to Jimenez all the time. I'm going to score tons of goals.
Yeah.
He went to Liverpool, and I was like, oh, he's not going to play. Ends up being the best player. But then Ings is injured. Jimenez hits his skull and is out. So Kieran says, hey, I'll give you Aubameyang and Mope and Ayew, who at the time were playing and doing decent. And you give me Jimenez and Jota and Brewster. So I was, like I have a chance to actually win the league, and I'm not winning the league now. Ings is injured and Jimenez is injured. Aubameyang has been shit, but you never know, right? So made the trade, and I don't even know how warm the trade was. Still hot. Like he just got Jota into his team, and Jota's out for what, 2 months, and I think he's dropped Brewster, of course, and I mean, I don't know. Aubameyang then lost me the week when he scored the own goal against himself. So it really hasn't worked out for either of us. But I don't know if Jimenez will ever play again.
Pike, you've been going on and off in the group chat saying Jimenez is done, right? The science guy. Let's hear it, Pike.
It's like pretty simple. Like look at concussion protocol. Like not even concussion, but any sort of head injury protocol. Like there's so many like things you have to pass now these days, and they're like safety is number one priority. And like maybe Czech came back after 3 months. Like Jimenez, like I guarantee does not play this season. Like I said, I'll bet anybody any amount they want. Just like with so much danger of like cracking your skull and how much it can affect things. I think like they're gonna play it super safe no matter what, and like they won't even consider playing him this year.
Well, they're not going to get relegated, and they're not going to make Europe. So why would you bring him back early?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a little different being a goalie and a striker too, having to use your head a little more.
Exactly.
Yeah. Will we see Jimenez back with the rugby helmet? I guess so, eh?
Maybe.
Probably.
Yeah.
Pike, do you have I know maybe there's been some misses in the draft in the past couple of years. Maybe you wanted to talk about some hits as well. You've had some good teams. Do you have any fantasy memories to share?
Yeah, so the first year we started the fantasy draft, I knew nothing about drafting. I never played in any sports drafting league, so I was doing a bunch of research on strikers, and I was trying to get ahead of the curve here. And I heard I just heard about Vokes and Dwight Gale scoring goals in the championship, scoring some, not even lots of goals, some goals in the championship. I was like, oh, no one's gonna know anything about these guys. I'm gonna draft them. I'm gonna look so smart. I'm gonna pick up these championship players, and they're gonna light the league up. And then the first game, Vokes plays, and it's against Chelsea. And I think he scores like 2 goals.
Yeah, he does.
So I'm puffing my chest out. I'm like, oh, I'm so smart. I got a gem here. And then I think he scored like probably 3 more goals the next 37 games. And Gale lost his starting spot halfway through the season. So yeah, that was for sure a blunder for me.
Halfway into the first game, probably for Gale.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember that because you were still bragging about Vokes, and I was like, Pike, let's make a bet. I bet you he doesn't score more than 6 goals this season or whatever. And you took it, and you didn't quite get there. The Volkswagen.
Yeah,
That's such
a difficult time.
That's
You
such a
still had a good
classic
team though,
quote.
Pike. I think you had Son and Aubameyang. There's one year you had Son and Aubameyang. You were really good.
Yeah, I get lucky sometimes.
Sandy, what do you got?
That's such a classic, like first time doing a fantasy draft of any kind. You look up like best sleepers for the draft,
Yeah.
but then you don't know when exactly you should draft them, so you just pull the trigger and draft them like round 2.
Yeah. Oh, sleeper. I need to make sure I get this guy.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I can't miss this guy. Like I've seen it in a few fantasy football drafts. I remember one of my buddies, he looked up sleepers and drafted Jack Doyle round 2 like 2 years ago.
Hard hat Jack.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things
I think my favorite year for the fantasy was the first year that we all did the fantasy draft.
Pretty sure just a shout out for the viewers, that was the year I won.
Is that the year you talk? No. So
Not
it was
the
the
first
second
year.
draft year, Dad. I think you're talking
Oh,
about
is
the
it the
title
second?
race with you, me, and Chris.
Yes, the second year then. Now that's right. That was the year that I drafted all the Liverpool defenders, and everybody was laughing at me at the draft. but they were getting clean sheet after clean sheet. I had Mohamed Salah because I had the first pick. And on Friday, Salah went off. Liverpool got a shutout. I was like 30 points ahead of you. And you texted me, congratulations, you've won the league. There was like 5 games to go. And then on Sunday, you ended up catching me, and Pike was involved as well. I think it was him that was at the top. And Cooper had stopped paying attention to his team, but all of a sudden everybody had these wild comebacks, and 2 guys score on Cooper's team that should never have scored.
It was
and we all ended up tied, and then Austin leapfrogged all of us. And so we go into the last weekend, the last game of the year. It all ended up with you, me, and Pike tied on points, and Austin, I think, 1 point behind us. And it came down to the points scored. And I think at one point in that last round of games, all 4 of us were in the lead at one point during that. It was very exciting. It was the best. I don't think we'll ever get another draft year as good as that one.
Yeah. Keegan, because I remember, because Pike, I was like, oh my goodness, Pike's going to win the league. And then Cooper mustered a tie against you or something, and Cooper potatoes.
Cooper mustered a tie.
It was the same weekend that you tied
Chelsea.
me, Liam.
Yeah, it was Chelsea against United, and it was the Rudiger long shot that De Gea spilled, and Cooper had Marcus Alonso that tapped it in.
Yeah.
I don't even think Marcus Alonso was starting games up to that. He just
No, he played one game, scored a goal, I think came off Cooper's bench and got a tie against Pike. In the same week, Dad and I tied. It must have been the second last week.
No, it was about 3 weeks. It was about 3 or 4 weeks before the end. I remember that.
Because I pulled up the standings here because I took a screenshot. This is the closest title race ever. It was me on 78 points, Bill on 78 points, Pike on 78 points, Austin on 76. I had total points 1,716. Dad, you had 1,704. Pike had 1,590. Austin had 1,498. But 78, 78, 78, 76.
Yeah,
Super
that was
close
good.
title race.
That was the final standings, like when it was all said and done.
I lost by 8 points on points scored.
Yeah, that was the year with Zach Petrovic powerhouses when he took Sane, I think, in the first round, or maybe it was the end of the first round, start of the second. And then Sane didn't play because, I don't know, maybe a rest, start of the season. He thought, oh, fuck this, I'm going to drop Sane. And then Sane went on to be one of the best players in fantasy. And he was stuck with Alexis Sanchez and Shaqiri.
Yeah, that's true.
Needless to say, he finished last. Hasn't been heard from since.
Yeah.
What year was that? How many years have we done the fantasy draft for?
I think this is year 4 of fantasy
I think
draft.
so, yeah.
We're the champs. You won 2, and
Keegan won the first year.
You won
I won the last 2. Sandy, you gonna let Cam win this year?
So you did.
You gonna let Coach Cam win?
I don't know, man. It's tough to say. Cam's got a good team. Don't tell him I said that, but guys balling out there. Beat me this week, so it's tough. But I think I got the best squad, so I'm hopeful. It's a weird feeling for me. I'm usually like mid-table mediocrity, just fighting for relegation, just worrying about that Kenora battle.
Yeah,
I'm not used to be on the top. I don't know how to handle it. What? Anyways, go ahead, Geeks.
I was just gonna say, you can't be dropping points to my sorry ass team like you've been doing.
I know I've lost 2 on the trot here, so I'm cooling down a little bit. But yeah, this is my year. If I can't win it this year.
I was gonna say, Sandy, did you have any Mike things to shout out for fantasy memories or funny Mike things that he does in fantasy?
Well, there's 2 classic Mike situations. The first is always having the draft on August long weekend when he's on the WISA. So he can never draft his own team. So he always auto drafts like a shit team, and then like obviously he's bad and just kind of fighting for relegation, but he'll kind of work his way up to mid-table or something like that. And then just the whole second half of the year, I'll be strutting his stuff, talking about how good his managing is.
Best manager in the league.
How he's the best manager in the league. Like,
mid-table.
auto-drafted team, like, escaped relegation, all this stuff, because he never drafts his own team. He's never even, like, top half, but he's always so confident in his managerial abilities just because he works his way out of, like, relegation.
Yeah, and every year I say, Mike, you're on the WISA. Are you sure you can do it this weekend? He's like, yeah, I'll find some time and do the draft on my phone. And then the draft happens. His first pick is Lukaku, who plays for Inter. And I'm saying, Mike, what the hell happened? He's like, oh man, like we got super drunk and there was no service. We were in the middle of Lake of the Woods. And I was like, yeah, I know.
He's
So
like, fuck man,
unstable.
got super drunk, lost my boat in a dinghy, couldn't make the draft, boys.
Yeah, dropped my
lost my
phone in
phone
the
in a dinghy. Like, yeah.
So maybe
Phone's in
there
the
should
ice
be a
right
lesson
now.
on drunk and playing fantasy after Austin dropped Trent Alexander-Arnold trying to trade somebody else.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, how do you manage that, Austin? That helped Mike out this year. Mike needed to be thrown a bone. Pike, I know Pike has a bet with Mike that Mike's gonna get relegated, right, Pike?
Yeah, I think Mike's true colors are gonna come out now that he had to draft his own team.
Yeah.
You just think it's big like waiver pickups. So yeah, I mean there is some bad teams in there, but I think it's
Nate's gone.
Yeah, Nate's gone for sure. But I'm hoping Kieran could pull up, and I think Dave's team's okay. I think it's between those three for sure.
Yeah. Pike,
Yeah, Dave's got Vardy. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, Dave was lucky this year that the transfer window was open for the first few weeks, so that he kept getting the good players transferred in.
No, that's what Sandy got all the good players. Dave couldn't
That's
quite
fault.
take advantage.
So Dave, actually, I might as well shout out Dave because game week 1, Ollie Watkins transfers in. Everyone's short on strikers. Watkins was a dynamite last year in the championship. Not like Vokes and Gale Pike. This guy was actually going to be good. And Pike, of course, or Dave, of course, goes and picks up Jeff Hendrick, who had his biggest week ever for Newcastle, scored a goal, and left Watkins for Sandy.
Yeah. Fell right into my lap after my horrible draft. I think my striker won the draft was Che Adams. Shout out Che. But after that, I can't remember who I drafted. I had one striker.
All right. Anyone have
actually,
any fantasy? Yeah.
I got to shout out my David Brooks selection last year. I can't let that one go unmentioned.
That's a funny one too.
I drafted David Brooks in round 4 last year, I think, thinking he was just the hottest man in the league, bound for a transfer to United or something like that. Didn't realize he was hurt that bad. I think I saw that. I was talking to Liam actually. I think I said like, yeah, I said he's out till like November or something like that. Like, what's that, like a month, like 2 months? It was like September at the time. Just did some bad math in there. Forgot about a few months, so I grossly misunderestimated how long.
Well, yeah. If I can jump in quickly, Sandy,
Yeah.
it was when I was moving to Kelowna, so it was August 2019. So yeah, I was like, dude, why'd you draft Brooks? He's hurt. Like, it says he's out till October. You drafted him pretty early, and you're like, yeah, October. That's what, 4 games? There's only 4 games in August, and I was like, well, dude, there's September, and you're like, oh shit, September. Forget about September.
Yeah, so even if he was out to October, it probably wouldn't have been worth spending a 4th round pick on a guy who's gonna miss like a quarter of the season. But then he never played. He just kept getting his injuries rolled back and back and back. Like, it was like he had to get a second ankle surgery, and like all of a sudden he's got like a freaking knee injury. Like, who knows what's going on with this guy? He's never gonna play. And I just held him all season.
Most trustworthy injury report is the Premier League website.
Yeah, it was the classic. Likely to return next week, and then the next week likely to return next week, and it literally did that for 4 months.
Yeah, so he's
up to
burned a
date.
hole in my bench from September to like March before I finally cut loose.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was not my finest moment.
All righty, you guys ready to move on to greatest game you've ever watched? Dad, I'm sure you've been watching soccer for longer than us. Do you have a greatest game or a favorite game you've ever watched?
I have 4 games.
Ooh.
And I have I've always tried to pick a game.
Can I guess one of them?
Yeah.
1999 FA Cup semifinal, Arsenal versus Manchester United.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even think of that. I was thinking more of games that I've been involved in.
Oh, okay.
So,
that's more fun. So
Yeah.
let's go with that.
Let's see
Yeah.
it.
Okay. So I haven't got a greatest game for Kate and Riley yet, but I've had good moments with them. But I have a greatest game for each of you, Liam and Keegan and Kieran. And so your greatest game, Liam, that I remember the most of all, Sandy, you were involved with it. It was way back. I think it was our second year with the Kenora Rovers.
I think this might be the one that I have.
We're going way back to the Rovers.
Yeah, the Kenora Rovers when we were, I don't know, what were you guys, 10 or 12 years old? And we were playing against that team and they were beating us and they kept trying to just kick the ball as far as possible. And all the parents started to circle on our team, circle the field so that they could get the ball back in. And
that's Tyndall Park. I remember the team name, Tyndall Park. They went up 1-0 on us early in the game. Golden Boy tournament.
Golden Boy
Winnipeg.
tournament, yeah.
Or
And
Children's Hospital
were-
tournament. Children's Hospital tournament.
Yes, you're right. Children's
Winnipeg.
Hospital tournament. And we were a way better team than them.
Yeah.
And do you remember the goal you scored?
Yeah. That was,
Okay, why don't you talk about it? I can't remember if was that the tying goal or the winning goal.
So that's a great memory, Dad. That was we're playing this team and their coach was crazy. Like the first crazy coach we've ever encountered, I think, Sandy. And they scored early on us. We'd won every game, I think, in the Kenora Rovers history up to this point. So we'd never faced adversity. This is our first cup tournament. And we're playing and I remember it's 1-0. They were literally getting the ball, Pike, and they were just getting the ball, and their coach was like, kick it out of bounds as far as you can. And they would kick it as far as they can into the bush. And the ref couldn't do anything. There's no other ball. So they just kick it and we'd have to go get the ball. Remember that, Sandy?
Kinda. What age was this approximately? Like U12?
Under 12, under 11.
Yeah, it was our second year at Kenora Rovers.
And so, like you said, Dad, the Kenora Rovers parents were all around the garden for the balls to go out. And I remember their coach or the ref did give out one yellow card with like 5 minutes left when it was all hope was lost after them doing this the whole game. And I remember we got a corner kick, had to be, I don't know, 88th, 90th minute, probably 90, not a 90-minute game, but a couple minutes left. And I remember their goalie was standing in a super weird position. And I'm just like, what the hell's going on here? And they put it in. The goalie's way front post. We can't even kick far. So the ball's going right to the goalie. The goalie just drops it behind himself. It's on the line and Duncan runs in and basically
sticks it in.
Like sticks the ball in from the goal line. And we're going wild. And of course, Duncan, man for the moment. And we're like, yes, we got a tie. And I remember, and I had this as my probably greatest soccer moment was then we get the ball down outside of the box. I've probably never taken as far a shot in my life. And I just kicked it as hard as I could. And sailed over the goalie 2-1. And I remember you talking about the greatest celebration was to put your shirt up over your head like this and pretend you're an airplane. And I just remember doing that and running around like that. And we won 2-1 against a team that we developed a rivalry with too.
Yeah, that was my one of my greatest. That was my greatest game for you. For Kieran, it was when we won Ontario Cup. We were down in Toronto and east of Toronto. I can't remember exactly where it was now, but it was a great game. I thought Kieran played fantastic in it. I remember one of the big things is he got Anthony Valente kind of sorted out, said something to him. And Valente played fantastic. It was a great year that year, and Kieran played really well. We won Ontario Cup. That's my greatest game for him. For Keegan, of course, was the USA Cup victory against the Swedish team in the final. It was an amazing game. I remember I went on the opposite side of the field from the Davey Calistro was coaching. And Brent over there, so that I could yell at the players to make sure that they were getting back to check in, because there was a couple guys that I didn't think were working hard enough. So I went over to yell at them. I was getting into it with some of the Swedish fans because they were, why are you yelling at me? And Keegan made 2 fantastic saves near the end of the game. I know with the adversity that he had come through, it was just fantastic as a dad to see him do that and be carried off the field by his teammates, and it was wonderful. It was one of my best soccer moments. The other
looked like a professional goalie in that game. Seriously.
He did. Yeah, and then the picture at the end that you got to send to what was the guy that he came here and was like a guest coach for the Chill a couple times.
The British guy, right?
Yeah, and he worked with TFC. And he
was
had
that after he made fun of
your leggings. And so then you got to tweet this. How do you like my leggings now, or something? Yeah. And then my last one that I was thinking of was actually another Kieran game, and I think it might have been the same year that they won Ontario Cup, and it was a USA Cup semifinal game, and we won 1-0. And we absolutely killed the team. I've never been involved with a team that ever had like a more perfect game. We only won 1-0, so we missed a few chances, but it was kind of like the way they described Barcelona they used to play. And I know we're not Barcelona, but we passed and passed and passed and kept possession. And I don't even know if the other team honestly got over the other side. And it was just amazing. The best team that I've ever coached, or the best game of a team that I've ever coached, has played. The other team never touched the ball. And I remember hearing two of their players walk off like after the whistle ended, and they said, "How did we only lose that game 1-0? That team, like, we couldn't do anything." Like, and it was just like, so that was a great game that I remember as well. So somebody else could go now.
Chris Pike, what do you got, buddy? Greatest game ever. Well, I guess we're doing ever watched. You could maybe transition to greatest game ever played in as well, if you got something. Surely, I think your greatest game ever watched, although it was a shit game, was the Chelsea Champions League final.
Yeah.
Or is it, or would it be the Barcelona semifinal? Which one's better, Chris? With the Torres?
That was like the best like goal, I think. Like being a Chelsea fan, just seeing like our shit like overpaid striker score some huge goal against Barcelona.
Yeah.
That was like the good like warm feeling, like you did it, Torres. You finally did something for us. But yeah, the finals definitely. But playing in, I would say like my first game like started for the PDL, not the Winnipeg game where we just got handed it, but like the second year where I actually like earned my spot like starting.
Yeah.
Like I was just like a player coming off of like zero confidence, and like I came back from Laurentian and like was just playing men's league at LU, so like I started like just doubting my ability, and then just like starting the PDL game and like playing well enough to start the next one, I think just really like was just a huge like boost of my confidence, and maybe like soccer gang, because at that point I was like, fuck, like I was really questioning if I was even good at soccer, and just
I remember away at Kokomo, right, Pike? I remember that game. Away at Kokomo, you were probably our best player, I think. That was one of the best games I've ever seen you play.
Yeah, that was good, and yeah, just gave me the belief again that I could like play soccer half decently.
And then you came back and scored, didn't you, Chris?
That was the first year
before.
That was the first year. Okay.
Yeah.
This was the second year when he was actually starting all when we had our road trip. You were starting every game, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that just like I just sort of proved myself that like I could play at a high level again, and it wasn't just like a youth player that did well and became washed after that. So yeah.
You belonged. That's when you knew you belonged.
Yeah, exactly.
Love that. Sandy, what do you got? Greatest game ever watched? Greatest game ever played in?
Greatest game played. I got a few crazy ones, but it's kind of, well, I think we were remiss not to mention our USA Cup final.
I was gonna say, yeah, for you, this has got to be USA Cup final.
I mean, that one was just, I mean, it's not crazy. It was 0-0. So you have a tough time saying like craziest game ever played. But what a wild game that was, right? Like that team was pretty good. They obviously balled out on us, and we just go 0-0, winning pens. Pretty epic moment. But Patch missing the pen, obviously hilarious.
I was gonna say we'd be remiss not to mention that Patrick Penn chance to win it, and I don't even know, it wasn't even a chip down the middle. It was like I'm scared to hit this ball with my foot down the middle.
He passed it about a yard to the left and just up like no pace. I don't know what he's doing. But yeah, that's probably one of the funnier soccer moments, just that penalty in hindsight, since we won.
Thank God we still won.
Yeah, I think I saved a few pens in that one. So that was a fun one. But in university, we had one, this is against Watson's team actually. We had one crazy game. It was definitely the craziest soccer game I've ever been a part of.
I think I still watched that one. Was it the finals or no?
Yeah.
I remember watching
our conference finals, and we were pretty good this year. We were obviously way better than Watson's team, bunch of bombs. So we went up in like 2-0 pretty early. I don't know, scored a couple sick goals, and then we got like one of my guys center backs. He's on a yellow, and he gave up a penalty. So here's what happened. He gave up a penalty. We were up 2-0. He gave us a penalty, so they're about to go 2-1. Kind of a shitty call from the ref. and then they get to second yellow for dissent, like following the ref away from the penalty spot, just like chatting in his ear. So we get sent off. Probably like 40th minute, they score the pen, so it's 2-1. We're kind of clinging on. We're down a man, and then probably in like the 60th minute, we get another like second yellow. So like 2 yellows, another guy sent off. So we're down to 9 men, trying to see like a 2-1 lead in their conference final, and they tied up eventually. They go 2-2. So we go to extra time. I remember Watson missed an absolute sitter in this game.
I remember
He got subbed on, and like, I don't know, there's like a cross across the box, like 4 yards out, probably a little bobble on him a little bit, and he just skied it over. So funny. And then we just parked the bus. Like, it was basically like the West Brom formation without the striker. It was like a 6-2. I don't even know what it was, like a 5-3 maybe. Probably didn't cross half for like an hour of soccer. And then we get to penalties. And despite my prolific penalty record in rec soccer, I got pulled for the shootout. Because you can do this in US soccer. You can just swap your goalie after regulation. So we had this freshman goalie whose nickname was literally Beano, because he was like a string bean. So he's like 6'3" and just lanky as hell. So we sub him in for penalties. He saves like 3 pens, and we pull it out. So yeah,
Nice.
we won that conference final, being down 2 guys for like an hour. That was absurd. And then after the game, because it's on our home field, and it's kind of like an amphitheater thing, like there's just like a couple of grandstands on your sides. The home fans were absolutely rowdy as hell, so they had to bring out a couple of golf carts and just rush them on the field to carry the refs off, because they're really our whole fans would assault them. So I just buzzed out with some golf carts, like campus security. So that game was absolutely wild.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I'm gonna say my last 2 things and there's in 2 awesome games that I played in, was with the 2 greatest goalies I played with, and this is the 2 moments that we were in games we should not have been in, and we were holding out, defending, and then I just thought, damn it, 80 minutes of us defending our absolute asses off in a game we don't belong, we're not the best team, and this is going in, and these goalies saved it. One was, and this was one of Pike's best games as well, it was when we were in youth soccer. Remember the Western League, how fun it was, Pike?
Oh, yeah.
This was a Western League game playing in Sault Ste. Marie against Waterloo, who had an awesome team.
Oh, that T guy.
Yeah, they had that T guy, center mid. Yeah, they just had an awesome team. And this was, I cannot believe we tied this game 0-0. This team was absolutely killing us. Pike was everywhere. Sandy was everywhere. 0-0. We're basically playing for the draw. And then it's like 85th minute, and they get a rebound on a corner, a loose ball or something, and the guy just arrows it bottom corner. And I literally remember being like, God damn it, we've defended so good. This is going absolute bottom corner. Have no idea to this day how Sandy got there, but it was like teleportation of him being in the middle of the net and then being on the ground making the save. And we held out to tie 0-0. And that Western League season was just the best, eh, Pike?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. And that was a game that Pike was amazing in as well, by the way. And the other one was, Keegan, were you there when we beat U of T at home, Laurentian?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, I think this is my 4th year actually. U of T at Laurentian, November or October, late October, snowy. Laurentian's horrible field. U of T is a much better team than us, but we're up 2-1. We scored on a long throw. I scored a header on a long throw. And then we're just basically defending the whole time. Kind of the same thing. Guy gets a loose shot, deflection going the absolute other way. And I was just like, oh my God, this would be such a great moment, but now it's over. And Connor sticks out. Connor's 6'5", huge wingspan, super long legs. He's diving one way and sticks out a leg the other way while he's going the other way, and somehow extends a Spider-Man leg, Elastigirl leg to get it, and we win 2-1. So those 2 goalies were just, those are the only 2 times I ever literally remember being like, the moment is paused and I'm saying, oh, we just conceded a goal. And then the goal not being conceded somehow. So there you go, boys.
Nice.
Show it to the goalies. The goalies nenever make those saves. You're just like, oh, it's going in. Then you just watch your goalie flap at something and be like, fuck's sake, man.
Seriously. It was like, this game is over now. All right, let's move along to our 5-a-side team. Best 5-a-side team with players you've played with. Keegan, can you start us out? I think you've got a funny one here.
Well, I had a decent best game ever played in.
Oh, Keegan, I'm
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
buddy.
We missed him.
Did we miss you?
Mine was my grade 12 year. It was a high school
Oh, yeah.
footy game. And it was what's the
Oh, this is a
provincials called
hilarious
again?
one.
OFSA.
Yeah, OFSA. So this was obviously our school had like a 16-year run, and then when I was in grade 9, we lost. When I was in grade 10, we lost. When I was in grade 11, we lost. So I was pretty ashamed with myself. Didn't really play in much of those, to be honest. At this point in my career, I was a goalie, and then grade 12, I'm like telling my coach, I'm like, yeah, play me in net. Like I'm better than this guy, like some hockey goalie. At this point, he played with us at the
That's
youth
like
level.
Thunder Bay.
Just a hockey goalie now. But to be fair, I got to shout him out because he had a great tournament. But my coach is like, no, we're playing you out. We're playing you out. I got a vision. And I'm like, dude, I'm a bum. I'm just a bum player. So he played me center mid with one of the best players I've probably ever played with, Jag. I think he was in grade 9 that year. So he's like 4 years younger than these guys. He's bigger than us. He's stronger than us. He's just the best player. So my job is pretty much to foul players and then kick the ball as far as I could or pass to Jag. So we played our first game of the tournament was against some really good team. They had a guy in Swansea's academy or something like that. I think we lost an absolute heartbreaker off of like a 90th minute free kick, top bins from the lad. This was the best player I've ever played against. And then we go on to tie some terrible team because it was 2 games in the same day and we were just dead from the first game. So then our last game, this is the game that I have to talk about. Our last game must win. If we win, we go through in the second place spot. If we tie or lose, the other team goes through in the second place spot. Probably a much better team than us. I think we went up 1-0. So we had some hope after going up 1-0 from a Kevin Bai goal. Shout out to Kevin Bai. And then they scored twice. We're down 2-1. And I'm like, well, also it was fun. And it was at home that year. So we had a whole bunch of fans during the school games because it was during school hours. So
It was at your school, right?
yeah, it was at our school.
Yeah.
So the whole school is watching the game. So then we were down 2-1 to probably a better team. So I was like, well, that's that then. It was fun. Glad to be a part of an OFSA. And then Jag scores a header. Jag scores another goal. We go up 2-1 with like a 90th minute winner. And then we're just defending. Okay, probably an 80th minute winner because we were like defending like everyone behind the ball. And I remember Nick Lento was the fucking ref. And they won a corner kick in the 90th minute and he called the game right there. He blew the game when they had a corner kick down a goal. So I'm like, I don't even know like what to do. Like we won it and we're through. Probably didn't deserve it. And then Anthony Valente, I'm walking off the field. Anthony Valente is next to me, goes up to the best player on their team, just yells, "Woo!" right in the best player in their team's face, right in his face. And the guy just shoves him, and I'm like right next to him. So I'm like, oh, well, I guess I might as well jump in. I'm pretty cool headed, so I'm not going to do anything stupid. So I just grabbed the guy on their team, and he was bigger than me. So I literally just like grabbed him from behind and tried to pull him away. And then he just starts going nuts and he's like swinging me around. Like I was literally like off my feet, holding onto his back. He's just swinging me around like, fuck, let go of me. And then at this point, like both benches clear, like the field's just full of people just fighting, just a melee in the middle of the field. And we have all of our home fans getting restrained by teachers. Just an absolute shit show. I think mom ran out onto the field to try and save me at one point.
Mom looks for fights in sports games all the time. I'm sure she was in the middle of it.
Yeah, she was probably punching some little 9th graders. And then I have this guy, and then it's just a huge melee. So I end up letting go of him. Literally, the second I let go of him, a grade 9, the littlest kid on our team, happens to walk by. The guy just sucker punches the grade 9 the second I let go of him, and it's just a huge crowd. I just see the grade 9 just disappear into a crowd of bodies, just knocked him right out. I was like, holy shit. And then ended up clearing up the field, and it was pretty insane. And then finished with a bronze medal. Pretty proud of. I think Liam's one of the only people in Thunder Bay as well that can say that they have an OFSA bronze.
Yours was much more earned than mine. Mine was a grade 9 ride-a-thon, thanks to John Kaskowski. But yeah, Keegan, that moment reminds me of, that was like the Jungle Book scene, Dad, where Baloo's got Shere Khan by the tail, and the vultures take Mowgli, and they say, "You can let go, Baloo." And he says, "Are you kidding me? There's teeth at the other end." So he hangs onto the back of the tiger.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Soon
I
as he
saw
lets
this.
go.
I was at this game, Liam. I saw all this. It was
Yeah.
great.
As soon as that happens, yeah, exactly. He decks
Yeah.
the grade 9.
Yeah.
Disappears into a
He
melee,
just disappeared into a crowd of bodies. I'm like, oh no, what have I done?
never to be found again. All right. 5-a-side teams, players you've played with. Dad, you want to get us started here?
Okay, I could get you started. Now, none of you guys will know these players, but Marco, you should make sure your dad listens to this part of the pod because he probably knows a lot of these players. I started with my Lucania team that I played with as our men's league team. I won nationals with them. We got a bronze at nationals as well. I think the whole time I played there was about 6 or 7 years over a couple of spans. We never ever lost a league game. One year we won the league with whatever it was, 14 wins and 2 ties. And the team that we beat also was undefeated. They had 3 ties, like 13 wins. So it was a great rivalry with some of these teams. Thunder Bay was in the league for a while, and we always used to come to the Thunder Bay tournament as well. And we were pitted as far away from the best Thunder Bay Juventus team as possible because they never wanted to play us until the final. So yeah, Tony, you'll know a lot of these players, but my goalkeeper is Steve Hooper. When I was like your guys' age, maybe, well, I guess younger than you are now, like 18 years old playing with them, he was already about 35, I think. And he was like a good father figure. And he was, well, we won with him. He was just very intense. And he was a great goalkeeper. In the middle of the park, we had a guy, his name was Vinny Sartor, and the Thunder Bay guys will know him. He's the ugliest person I think I've ever met in my life. Like his face, like he hit every branch of the ugly tree when he fell out of it. And the Thunder Bay guys will probably know him as the Pirate. And there wasn't much to him. He was probably about 5'7", skinny but muscular, like not an ounce of fat on him. I think he worked in a warehouse in Winnipeg. He had come over from Italy and played. I had never ever seen this guy touch the ball with his right foot, but his left foot was unbelievable. Like he could be facing this way and you're over there, and that left foot would get it, and he could hit a 35-yard pass to you and spin it. And he was one of the best player I've probably ever played with. Never very fancy. I probably remember him dribbling the ball 2 or 3 times, and every time that he would dribble, he'd dribble 2 or 3 players, but his passing was unbelievable. So Vinny Sartor would be on it. Kevin Methot was a really big, muscular striker that we had that scored goals. I think he scored the goal to win us nationals. Imagine like a guy with a body like Andy Carroll, but fitter and stronger. And, at least as deadly as Andy Carroll was at his prime, but he was probably faster than Andy Carroll and a little bit quicker on his feet. Marcello Palucci, I played with as well from the time I was young, played juvenile soccer with him. He played in the CSL. He won a CSL championship with Winnipeg. He went over and played in Romania for a couple of years. You guys know him from Kenora when he'd come out and do the soccer clinics, and he was probably easily the most talented and the best player that I ever played with. So those would be the 4. If it's me able to play with them, I don't know if I'd be as good as these guys, but I'd be loving to play defense with them. But if I had to pick a better defender that I ever played with, I'd have to definitely go to Plex FC. And when I played with Wilson Neto, he wasn't a bad player. So he would definitely make my all-time top 5 of people that I played with.
Nice. Well, we'll have to
And
set up the
I got to play a year in the CSL with the Winnipeg Fury. And I think all of these players would be better than any of the guys that I played with. Desi Clark gets an honorable mention. I have to say Desi Clark, he was the Jack Grealish of our time, but he drank a lot more.
More than Grealish?
Oh, yeah.
Sure about that?
Yeah, I have a lot of good stories with Desi, and he was a lot of fun. So he would probably be the honorable mention of the other guy that could go into that team. He was unbelievable.
Keegan, five-a-side team. So basically, if you're sticking yourself in, I thought that's what we were doing. I stuck myself in, but maybe you and the 4 best players you played with, Keegs.
I feel like there's no point in me doing this one. I don't think I've played as at as a high of a level as everyone else here. So I took my own little spin on it. The 5-a-side team that I think would be the most fun to play with. Trying to get a bit of everywhere that I've played. Start things off in net with the Juventus Men's League. Actually, no, I don't even play Juventus Men's League. Excuse me. Whatever team me and Chris play for, I got to go Mac. Mac is the goalkeeper. Just, I don't think there's much that I even have to say about Mac. I know Cam tells the stories, or every time he collects a ball, he's just looking for the nearest striker to body check before he puts it.
Yeah, I love that. Mac is Coach Cam's brother for the listeners, and the ball's on the ground. He's waiting for the striker to run by just so he can pick it up and throw his body.
And then one defender that I got is Justin Koué. Grew up playing soccer with him, and whenever we would get to the winter seasons here in Canada, it's pretty bunk ass. Everyone knows that. So we go indoor and it's pretty bad, and he always is just like, nah, it's not worth his time. He just disappears for 6 months of the year and then comes back to the outdoor season. Probably hasn't done any physical activity in those 8 months, and he comes back and he's still the best player, still the most physically gifted player on the field. And then I got to go with Coach Cam's other brother in the center of midfield. During his prime, he was probably one of the best players on our team, and I honestly don't understand how. I don't know one thing that he's actually good at doing. He just pops up in the right place at the right time and puts it away.
Good at shithousery.
Yeah, he's also a great shithouse. Shout out. And then go over to Laurentian. Whenever we do indoor futsal, if there's a guy that I want on my team, I always draft Jackson Kress. Shout out to him. Always draft him first. He's probably one of the most ball skill talented defenders that I've ever seen. And he's always good for a fantastic own goal, a fantastic blunder in his games. So got a shout out to him with much love always. And then I'd obviously have myself up top. And then I got to shout out the one, I guess, PDL season I played, and the one guy that I'd love to play with, Luka Glushevich. Shout out to Luka. Just a tremendous, just a hilarious lad, to be honest with you. And he was fun to play with for sure.
Hell of a left foot on Luka too, and hell of a storyteller as well.
Yeah.
Shout out Luka, the Serb. Pike, best 5-a-side team. Who you got, buddy? I think we might have some overlapping players. I'll let you go first. Hopefully, you don't steal too many of my players.
I won't. I threw a bit of a curveball and talked about guys that most of you guys didn't really play with.
Okay.
But, my 1 month at Western was this left back, Mark Sargent. This guy was a baller, man. Like everything, technically, like his fitness was unreal. This guy just bombed down kind of Arsenal play, how they just like leave Saka that whole side. That's just all this guy did. Just bombed down the side, took all set pieces. Was just an absolute beast for us. And then I had this guy Patrick played for on in Kingston. He went to Western too. This guy, Jeremy Arnold. This guy's like a Paul Scholes. Like he was a small ginger guy that's just so fit and just loved tackling guys and had great distribution. And then you might have this guy. It's Larry Alton. I have him my 5-a-side. That guy's just a fucking baller, man. Like there's not
by far the most skilled player I've ever played.
Yeah. He just didn't give a shit, and he was so fucking skilled. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And last, a shout out to my good boy, played on Juventus. I guess 2 summers ago. Kerry Nickel, just playing on them LU. Like this guy came out for big goals for us like all year. Then when we played the chill, he hit the bar off that that corner. He had a header at the bar. Like this guy was a super good Canadian player. And just another guy that didn't really play at a high level, but just when you played with them, you're like, fuck, this guy could have played at a way higher level and is sick. So yeah.
So Pike, I love that. I got the Larry Elton story. Remember so this was in your run of the team actually when you were doing really well. Remember the game in Chicago, 40 degrees heat.
Oh yeah.
I think that might have been one game in a row too much for you because you came out with heat stroke.
I took a knee like 40 minutes in.
Yeah. So Pike was out puking. But Larry Elton, would you look at him and think he was fit, Pike?
Yeah.
No, you would
No,
not. He was the most unfit looking guy, but he played, and we were playing a back five in 40-degree heat in Chicago against a really good team. And he had a beer belly and he was up, down, up, down, up, down the whole game.
The
I could
Luke
not
Shaw
believe
effect.
it was the Luke Shaw effect. I could not believe how good he was in that game. And Sullivan Silva was also amazing in that game, by the way. Best game I've ever seen him play. And we beat Chicago Fire under 23 in that game. And yeah, Larry Elton, I could not believe what I'd seen from him.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I cannot believe how much he ran. Even like doing fitness, like
Oh, yeah.
kind of like last and everything. Then in a game, he'd
Oh,
probably cover the most distance, honestly.
It was unreal. It was like, there's no way this guy can play soccer for us because in fitness, yeah, he's jogging, he's dying. He's got his Tukin mitts. He had the Toronto Argonauts Tukin mitts that he got at the Toronto airport first time in Canada. Oh, it's cold here. I need to buy these Argonauts Tukin mitts, guy from Brazil. That was hilarious. And he wore them the whole season. It was like July in Thunder Bay, plus 25. He's got his Argonauts Tukin gloves. Oh, hilarious. But yeah, unbelievable player. Sandy, best five-a-side team. What you got?
Well, if I'm being honest, probably most of the guys would be guys that no one's heard of. So I'm not gonna go that route. I'm gonna stick to the Thunder Bay lads. And maybe I'll shout out a couple guys I played with because they're characters and a couple funny stories from our uni days. But I'll probably say me and Ez, and I'll even throw Pike in the mix. I think me, Ez, and Pike, it would just be a lethal backline these days. I always like playing with guys who I'm boys with. This is something I found like playing at university. Like if you have a tight bond with your defenders, that can go a long way. So I'm gonna shout out the Thunder Bay boys. Say that would be a lethal backline. I'm also gonna say Sullivan because I think he is probably the best striker I've ever seen in the flesh. Like just kind of those heydays when we were like 16, 17 and he was running riot in the PDL.
Yeah.
Got a
rainbowing guys.
Yeah. And we'd play against him. We'd be like U17. He'd be playing the winners and stuff like that. And he just light the lamp on me like 6 goals a game. So got some first-hand embarrassment from him. And then there's 2 guys that I played with in university. I would probably say I couldn't leave them out because they're just too funny. One of the guys was like a right winger. He was like a Northern Irish guy. Absolute psycho, but by far probably the best player I played with. And I just loved, he was so intense, so funny. He was like, during my time there, like we'd have like a bunch of Finnish guys right like that. And every time I got the ball, he would just yell at me like, Sandy, fucking send me, or like, give me the ball. Like he'd be checking in. And if you give the ball to anyone else besides him, like on a goal kick, like a throw, like anything in your hands, he would just yell at you and just bitch at you for like the next 30 seconds. But despite that, he was just so fucking good. And then we had one other guy.
What's his name, Sandy? Because one of our millions of listeners will probably pass it on to him.
Oh, this guy was Sean Morgan. I think he's coaching my current school these days, but absolute baller, but just a lunatic. And we had one other guy, and this is kind of a funny story. He was a really good player. He came to our school for 1 year and then left. Like he went back to England for a couple of years because I think like school or whatever. And then our coach brought him back. Definitely a huge NCAA violation. Like he was back home playing like semi-pro in England, some kind of like he was getting paid to play back in England. And he comes back as like a 24-year-old sophomore after playing in England for all these years. And he's just out here bullying like these little 19-year-old like guys like Liam, probably like just like a freshman you, like just these little ass guys. And he's like a 24-year-old guy who's been playing with like men in England for years. Yeah, and he would just, I don't know, use a striker, and he would just put these guys like literally just like hold them back, get the ball in the block, like pull them off, turn, and just rip one home. He was he was also fun to play with, and but it just wasn't fair because he was an absolute man playing against like these D3 little boys. So it was fucking hilarious. So yeah, I guess those would be my 5.
Yeah, for me, goalie is a tough position because grew up playing with a guy who would just make saves that was crazy. That's of course Sandy. Don't understand how he made all these saves. But then I went to university and played with Connor, who more physically gifted than Sandy. I'm sure Sandy would admit that. Connor's 6'5", huge wingspan. So it's an absolute toss-up between those two. Connor played with the Chill the year I didn't play as well. So I don't know, take your pick on who you want on that.
Don't worry, my feelings won't be hurt.
Yeah, I don't know. Sandy, you made some saves that I could just not understand how a guy that's small could just get to the ball that quickly. And I also loved, and this is a Sandy memory, was we'd be beating teams and we'd be pissed off, and we'd get a goal kick and they're trying to score, and Sandy would walk to the ball like only the sloth could, as slow as humanly possible.
I was gonna say, I think that's what made the save so amazing, like from coaching
exactly,
Sandy, is because he looked like he was half asleep all the time and couldn't be bothered. And then all of a sudden, like, to move that quick was unbelievable.
Yeah, slowest mover ever, but then somehow makes these saves. And then he'd walk to get the ball. They're yelling, "What the hell, ref? What's going on?" Sandy gets the ball, juggles 5 or 6 times on the spot, picks it up, slowly walks back and takes the goal.
Personal best.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember you doing that and somehow escaping a yellow card, and the coach was screaming at the ref. Their players are losing their mind and just like, this is the best thing ever.
I think the thing was they would just watch me and they couldn't figure out why I was going so slow, because they'd be like, "Oh, he's actually running. Like he's just
they're like, that guy's jogging. What the hell?"
Yeah, like he's actually. It's not like he's walking to the ball. Like he's actually moving. He's just an incredibly slow individual.
Exactly.
I think that, and just like Sandy never really like yelled, like never really questioned the ref's call. So they just like, they always just cut you slack, be like, I don't want to give this kid a yell.
Yeah, they'd always warn me a few times and be like, "Oh yeah, sorry ref, like I'll get you next time." I'm like, "Oh, I'll speed it up here."
Oh, ref, I'm out to lunch. I'm so sorry, man. I forgot about that.
Oh, is it the 85th minute of a big game here? Oh, sorry, I totally forgot.
Yeah, so that's brilliant. Yeah, those 2 goalies, awesome guys, awesome goalies. And then I got to go with and I love to play defense with, because he'd always make it easy, was Mitch Osmond. Pike, I think he's got to be one of the best players we ever played with.
Yeah, his prime. Those prime years.
Oh yeah, sure. Mean defender, mean guy, but that's what made him so good, was he was out there to kill people. And he's playing in the USL too now, so he's obviously having himself a good career. But yeah, he's like a leader. Yeah, not the nicest leader, but like he's a leader. Like he'll drag a team and win a game for you. So him, I think the best leader we've ever played with, Pike, hands down, Anthony Putras. He's my second player, just the best teammate you could ever imagine. One of the best players ever, but also trying to make every single person on his team better. Even you and that year you were actually you were a starter. You were good. I was nothing. I was on the bench, and he was just the nicest guy. And he was playing center mid. He was playing forward for us. He could play literally
center back even, I'm pretty sure. Remember at training camp, he was playing center back too.
Yeah, amazing player, amazing captain, Anthony Putras. Best leader I've ever played with by far. And then I would have to go Pedro Adan. I just think he controls the game better than any player I've ever played with or against. I told him this when our last season in PDL together. Pedro would get the ball center mid, and I'm playing left back against him in practice. And every single time, like the center mid, when they're playing a long ball, it's either out wide to the fullback or the winger, or it's in behind. Every single time I'd think, and usually I could do this with most players and predict where they're playing the ball if it's out wide and kind of get a jump. Never with Pedro, not once could I predict where he was playing the ball. I'd start my run out wide because I think he's playing it there, and he slips it in between me and the center back as I'm playing left back. So he was just the best passer, controlled the ball. So I think, with those 3 guys, Sandy or Connor and net, those guys would run their asses off and we'd be a super good 5-a-side team. So Pedro, Mitch, Anthony Putras, Connor and Sandy can flip a coin for the back goalie.
Was Mitch better than Axel? Because do you ever play with Axel for a little bit, or was he not really?
I was never on Axel's team.
Your tenure.
I remember doing a training session. Tony called up And then
Yeah.
me, Patrick, Pike,
We're
and
Collins.
and we're
Yeah.
doing set pieces. And Axel Schoberg, he's a Swedish guy. I think he was an MLS All-Star one year, literally. And
Yeah.
he played for the Chill 2012. And yeah, it's like he throws out 5 defenders playing against like 8 attackers on corners. He's like, yeah, Liam, go mark Axel, 6'7" Swedish MLS All-Star. And I'm like a grade 11 kid. I'm like, okay, I guess we'll see what happens. Of course, he scores like 5 goals. And Nolan Intermoya, another awesome Chill player, is there saying 1-0. 2-0, 3-0, because he's super intense in the practices. So every goal they score, they're like, all right, 1-0 for the attackers against the defenders. And I'm just like, well, that was my guy. And 2-0, that was my guy again.
Yeah.
Someone help me out here.
He's got like a bunch of U18 guys he just calls up to play defense for their set pieces.
Yeah, to give him
to
confidence.
rack up
Yeah.
the score on you guys.
Paul Dillon's putting it on his head every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I played I think I did a few sessions with those guys that year too, and Axel was he's pretty sick. But Paul Dillon was there too last year, and I remember I don't know, he just bent a few like 20-yard shots on me, and that was he was one of the more talented players I've seen too in person.
Oh yeah, Paul Dillon was awesome. I remember the free kicks, Pike. He was like a Bane.
Yeah.
He was Thunder Bay's Leighton Bane.
Yeah, he was. The free kicks were unreal.
Just the some male pattern baldness already at like 23 years old.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
taking a look at the guy, being like, "Oh, there's no way this guy's good." And he's up and down
Yeah.
all game, whipping in crosses, banging free kicks, for sure. All right. Do you guys have? We're getting close to the end here. Do you guys have any funny coach memories? Any funny coach stories? Dad, you were a coach for a lot of the youth. Do you have any memories?
I was a coach, but one of the funniest things though was that probably you and Pike should tell this story. It was when I think Gio was still an assistant with the Chill, and you guys had that Dutch player. Were you guys with the team then?
I think that was the year that we were training but weren't playing. Are you talking about Stewart, the Dutch center back? I
The
think.
Dutch player and who didn't no, I don't think he was a center back. He was a forward, and he wasn't really working hard, but he thought he was the greatest player out there. And Gio went in to talk and said in front of the team, you know, I've seen so many soccer games. It's all I do is I go home and I watch soccer games. I watch soccer games in the morning. I watch soccer games in the afternoon. I watch games of all level. I watch all these games. I have never seen you play a game on TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
I cut the guy down. And I thought you guys were on that team there, or was maybe Marco that told that story?
I think it's got to be Mark, because I think the guy you're talking about, I think that was the year that Aiden Mayer played Pike, but we didn't play. That was the year before.
Oh, maybe. And I thought that was one of the funniest stories that I've ever heard. So,
Yeah. I was going to say
man.
Gio. I thought Gio was one of the greatest motivators, and his pregame speeches would get me fired up, Pike.
Yeah.
I remember Ontario Cup, we go and play that team, and his pregame speech was like, it was like, he put the whole world against us, Mourinho style. And he's like, we come here at 6 a.m, fly in here, red eye. We go pee on the tree because we're eating peas on the tree because the washroom wasn't over. We take a piss on the tree. We fucking come here and we beat this team. And we won 9-0 against them.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, well, looking back, the speech probably wasn't needed for that team, but I remember his speech was actually-
Play that ridiculously high line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. Another good Gio speech was it was in USA Cup the year we won, and he wasn't there for our first game against St. Croix.
Right.
And I remember it was just like, just Bill was coaching. And I remember, like, I guess we were trying to rotate guys because it was like our third game and we're already in, I guess, the playoffs. So remember we started like our second line pretty much, and we got lit up like 4-1 or like maybe even honestly 4-0. And Gio's like asking people about the game, and I think he like asked like all of us, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're
this was
pretty
such a
good. They
good
have
line.
like two twins, and they're fast and stuff. They're a really athletic team. And then like before the game, I remember just like, oh, I want to see this Manchester United, and just another sort of Mourinho speech where it just got us against, like everyone was against us sort of thing.
No, yeah, because I remember, him being, I've talked to so many people at this USA Cup, and they always say this team we're playing is the Manchester United.
Yeah.
But I've already seen a Manchester United, and it's
Yeah.
this team, and he's pointing at all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was, right, Pike?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gio, king of the pregame speeches.
Yeah, for sure.
Gio also the best goalkeeper warmer up of all time. Show Gio's goalie warm ups.
Just pinging the top ends.
Yeah, you're just like you obviously as a goalie in Thunder Bay, there's not a whole lot of goalie instruction, so you just be like with whoever's around would warm you up, and that would be your goalie coach today. If it was Gio on the day for a game, he would just wouldn't give you anything to hand, like nothing easing you into it. Just be like, all right, go get a net. And then just start dropping balls to the 18, just start ripping balls in the top corner. That would be his goalie warm up.
Yeah.
Then he'd be bitching at you for not saving them.
Yeah, no, I was gonna stay
You're gonna
Sandy.
save these in the game, Sandy.
Yeah, not coming easy in the
Well,
game,
probably
man. What the
not.
hell?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised you didn't put Gio and Sab in for the into your best starting five, because they probably scored the most goals on you.
Oh yeah, the Thunder Bay goalie coach is Severio Lento and Giovanni Petroglia.
Another good moment was just like we've all talked about this a couple times, but just when like Ahmed like punted that ball at the biggest guy in that Winnipeg team after
Oh my
like
god! Speaking of the
misses-
stupid 11,
yeah
we talked about the stupid 11 on our podcast.
yeah he'd be in there for sure.
Yeah, go ahead. tell
Hilarious
Mike.
guy.
That has to be one of my funniest moments was when we went out to Vancouver.
Oh
and,
yeah
and Ahmed, he forgot his jersey the first time. I
yeah
think he only brought the one color and we needed the other. And then Gio just gave him shit or no, that was Stefano.
Stefano.
Coach.
yeah
And Stefano gave him
my
shit.
God.
And then the next game he forgot his shoes and he had to wear Watson
what
shoes.
yeah and he's like
They were
what
like
they're
about
too
this
big.
much bigger than his.
Yeah.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Pike, tell the Ahmed Winnipeg League story.
I don't remember like perfect. I just remember like it was like a corner. And I think he was on the line, like on the front post or back post. I'm not sure where Sandy or Mac had him, but like he just misses like comes in pretty easily and he misses the clearance and it goes in. And just grabs the ball out of the net. And this big center back, this guy's like a rugby player, like probably 6 foot and probably 250, a thick ass dude. And just punts the ball like in frustration and fucking hits the guy in the back of the head. That was
Yeah.
supposed to run in there to try to save, like get my ass beat and try to step in front of him, Ahmad, because he was gonna get literally killed by this guy.
Yeah, literally could have cleared the ball on the line, doesn't.
Yeah,
Kicks it out of the net from behind him and punts it at the biggest guy on their team's head. Hits him in the back of the head. Oh yeah, Ahmed.
and even like the Vancouver when he forgot his jersey, like I guess I was the captain at the time, and I'm like, yeah, boys, wear blue. Just because we're running late, we don't have blue, like our blues ready. And then like we had the other team was blue, so we had to wear white. And he's like, everyone's like, "Yo, man, where's your blue?" He's like, "Oh, or where's your white?" He's like, "Oh, well, Pike told me blue. I didn't bring my white."
Yeah, I remember one of the funnier moments too was because we were playing with them, Pike, with Ahmed, and then Sandy and Patrick lived in Kenora and would
Oh,
make the
yeah.
trip.
I remember this
And
one.
we're playing one of our first games, Winnipeg League, and Patrick and Ahmed are up top together. Never met each other, I guess. And Pat gets the ball, and Ahmed's running a million yards offside, as he always does. It's like 30 yards offside, yelling, "Sandy, Sandy!" Didn't know his name, so he just knows the two Kenora guys, Sandy and Patrick. He's like basically on the goal line offside. Sandy! It's all funny, man.
Yeah, I remember like fuck that one guy that was sick, Enrique. He like the game before gets me sent off for the dive, but I just remember the next game I was like sitting out like watching like suspended or whatever, and like off kickoff he just shoots it, and Sandy's just chilling the top 18, and he just watches it just bang the bar so fucking hard, then come back
Oh,
out. And
that
just
was
comes back like
hilarious.
nothing happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
dying on the bench watching that.
Starting the game, yeah. Sandy's out chilling, I don't know, around
Yeah.
15, whatever. Ref, you ready? Yeah, yeah. Sandy's ready. And then the guy just shoots it off the kickoff. Sandy doesn't even move. Just kind
Yeah,
of watches
Yeah.
it. Like, oh, well, that's happening right now. Hits
was-
off our
I think-
crossbar, bounces right to Sandy. And the game, and he just starts the game.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah, that was the end of my days of like hanging out the 18 for kickoffs. I didn't realize that was a rule that you could just rip one on a dot. That was also the start of. I never got chipped until then, and since then I've had a horrid run of just chipping nightmares, being chipped from weird places. Actually, well, I got chipped in the Kenora League tournament last year. You boys remember that? You guys were there for that.
Oh yeah.
Got done from about half.
The big East Indian fellow, they kicked it back to him and then he just took a touch forward and just fucking pumped
Wait,
it.
what's from?
No, that's a funny story actually, because
Yeah.
we were playing that game and they just had this one winger who was kind of a douchebag. So we were getting into it and then we scored to go up 1-0 and I celebrate in his face. I'm like, let's go. Then right off kickoff, they fucking chip Sandy from half and score. Then he just runs across the field right to me to celebrate in front of my face. And I'm like, well, fair enough.
Also during that Sega, Mike at this point in the tournament not playing at all. Like guys had probably 97 beers in 2 days. We scored the goal, go 1-0. He subs himself on to like go for a little run, give one of the boys a break. And then they do that. They score right away, like 3 seconds after our goal. And Mike just turns around and walks off the field and just subs himself on right away.
Subs himself on. They score directly off the kickoff. Subs himself off. Played in a final. Touched pitch in a final. Good time.
And then me and Liam, this is like, if we're talking about just rec soccer at this point, me and Liam also had a game earlier this year in indoor where a similar situation happened. This was crazy.
My goodness, yeah.
You tell a story, Liam.
Yeah, so we're playing this team. We're playing the Okanagan FC team. This is this year. And we've got like a kind of like a men's league all-star team, I'd say. Like just guys,
Yeah.
like basically the best guys kind of recruited us and we're playing together. And we're playing this team. We're probably about even with them, maybe a little bit better, but they're the Okanagan FC team. So they're like this, I guess, supposed to be semi-pro team in Kelowna. And so they didn't have any subs that game. They lose a guy who was hurt. We were losing by 2 goals like the whole game. We've absolutely hammering them with pressure. Finally score to I think to go up by 1, Sandy, with like 2 minutes left. And
I think we tied it up.
oh yeah,
like
we tied it
2
up because we
minutes
ran the
left.
ball back to half and we put it on half. And as soon as we put it on half, the ref blows the whistle, the guy shoots it. The first time they cross half in 20 minutes, and he's not paying attention and it goes in. And we're like, we've worked so hard. And then he scores. He just picks the corner on Sandy from half.
Yeah.
He did win the game though, so we still scored 2 in like the last 2 minutes to win by 1. Probably the most undeserving win ever.
Yeah, so I've been cursed on getting scored from half ever since that Enrique moment. He burst the bubble. It's just kind of my lackadaisical self. I just don't really. I tend to switch off at points.
Yeah, positives and negatives. You guys have any more funny stories before we head out of here?
Not really.
All right,
Eric,
I want to
you're
tell one story. Sandy, what do you have?
I'm trying to get my dad to tell a story here.
Oh, all right, Coach
He's-
Ian.
He's brainstorming.
Okay. Well, while he's brainstorming, I'm going to tell one of my funnier ones. And this is one of my favorite stories. It involves Pike too. This was 2017 PDL season, our 3rd season, Pike. We're starting to try to make the step up to be close to starters at least. And I remember the first 2 games were against Winnipeg. I started the first game, thought, all right, I'm a starter. Started the first game of the season. Of course, got subbed off. Then the next game was on the bench. And then the next game, so we play those 2 games in Winnipeg, win, come back to Thunder Bay. We're playing Des Moines at home, and I'm not even on the bench. So I'm like, oh man, fuck this. Like I started on as a starter, now I'm on the bench. This is a Friday night. We have a Saturday night game, but I'm like, oh fuck this. Never gonna start. So I remember Pike, he names the lineup. We're both not in it. On the way from our pregame meeting to the stadium is the beer store right on the side. So I say, all right, Pike, we're getting some beer here. And we get some beer. We start drinking during the game. Our team gets killed by Des Moines. I kind of carry the drinking going into the night thinking, okay, I'm not even part of this team. Like, I'm not even part of the 18 tonight. There's no chance. I get absolutely wasted that night, that Friday night. Went out to a party with my friends that I haven't seen in a while. Come home, stumble home around 4 a.m., probably like super drunk. And I'm not a guy who deals well with hangovers. So the next day, super hungover, kind of just dinking around, doing nothing until the pregame meeting, which Gio always has. The pregame meeting's at 5, games at 7:30. Haven't eaten a thing, feeling like absolute garbage. Just want to go back to bed. Thinking, all right, Pike, like, I don't know, Pike, I can't drink tonight, buddy. Like, we're gonna be in the stands. I can't drink with you though. Like, I'm feeling way too bad to even crack a beer. And I'm kind of sitting like this during the pregame meeting, hand on my head. And Gio's writing the starting lineup, and he writes Liam at left back, and I'm like, what? How does this happen? This is unfair. I haven't eaten a thing. I'm feeling like garbage, and we're playing Des Moines, the best team in our division, right? Our
probably
rivals.
in the league back then too.
Probably in the league, our arch rivals. And I almost dropped the log in my pants. This is the most scared, most nervous I've ever been. And so immediately when we get out, I'm like, Pike, what do I do? What do I do, man? Like, I can't do this. What happens? And Pike tells me straight face, he's like, dude, just go into a tackle first 2-3 minutes, go down, hold your leg, pretend you're injured, and we'll just see what happens. You can come off, no harm. And I'm like, okay, you're right. That's what I'll do. I'll just pretend I'm hurt, go into a tackle, whatever. We had Evan Sawula on our team. I remember him because he had all the scouting reports. He's like, oh man, Liam, the guy you're playing against, right wing, he plays for Ohio State. He's super fast. He's like
part like the
team
U.S.
All-American.
national, like U20s or something.
Yeah, he's like U20
something.
U.S. national. I'm just like, oh my God. And I haven't eaten a thing. I immediately call my girlfriend to bring me a double coffee and a booster juice. And I try and get that in me before the game. I remember Kieran ran on the side of the field before the game started and gave me half a banana. Might have been Keegan. I think it was Kieran though. That was the only thing I ate. And the game kicks off and we just kind of went about it. We went up 2-0. I remember thinking, okay, I'm playing against this Ohio State U20 men's national team player. He's way faster than me, way better than me. Every time he gets the ball, I'm just going to go at him and try and just like, I'm just going to lunge into the tackle. If I get the ball, I'm going to look awesome. Like I knew what he was doing. If not, he's just going to absolutely destroy me. And the first 2 times, he just kind of went at me, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll just run at him and try and kick the ball like no defender ever does. You kind of want to jockey. And I just got him the first 2 times, and I think that shook his confidence because he was garbage after that.
Yeah.
And so I played a good game. We won 2-0 against Des Moines, and I don't know. I can't believe I survived it, but that was just one of the funniest moments ever for me.
Yeah, if that was me, I'd be taking a knee in 2 minutes in.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess adrenaline took over, but that was a good one for sure. I was absolutely looking for a point to injure Pike, but I couldn't really find it the first 5 minutes. So I was like, well, I gotta keep going. And the game was literally going on. So I was like, well, I guess. And then we scored an early goal, and I was like, okay, well, maybe this won't be too bad. And that's kind of how it went.
Yeah, for sure. And after that first tackle, you're probably like, I can manage now.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think Gio knows still. He probably wouldn't like to hear, but it worked out anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Andy, do we have Ian for a nice soccer story?
Oh, he's shy. He's being shy right now.
No, he's being
Yeah, well,
shy.
Liam, this is a quick one, and I know it has to do with you and I think Chris. Do you want to tell the pizza story?
Pizza story. Yeah, I don't know. That's not as a happiest story, but it was. I remember
think it's hilarious.
I remember we had Chris Jones on our team, Pike, the guy from Wales, and this is the season 2016 when you were playing a little bit. When you had your run in the team. I'm not sure if you were in the team at this point yet, though.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And I was certainly out of the team. And it was basically got to the point that you would, I think at this point, especially me, I don't know if you were just like, oh, well, we'll just sit on the bench the whole game or sit in the stands the whole game. At the end of the game, we get free pizza from
Yeah.
or whatever.
No, I remember we'd like come off the bench and we jog to this change room to grab the pizza.
Yeah. Me and Pike were the first guys in the change room to get that slice of pizza after the game from our sponsor. And I remember I had probably a piece, Pike stuffed in his face with a piece. One of the starters comes in after shit in the bed against Chris Jones, not a nice guy. Don't mind saying that about him. Shit in the bed against Des Moines, 3-0 loss. He sees these reserve players stuffing their faces with pizza, and he's like, "I fucking leave the pizza for the starters, yeah." And I'm just like, "Okay, you want this pizza?" And I just throw it on the floor. And I don't know. After that, like that was like probably the worst year for team morale, Pike.
Yeah, that was a tough team.
Yeah. yeah, I just threw the pizza on the floor and said, all right, if you want it, go ahead and eat it. Yeah, needless to say, that wasn't a very, very strong team that year, and we got
Yeah.
absolutely crushed in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, we did. I was thinking too, like if Putris wasn't on that team, the team morale probably would have been 10 times worse
Oh my
too.
God, he was the only guy holding us together.
Yeah, he was the glue guy for that team 100%.
Like
The
I
glue
said,
guy
best leader I've ever played with, and
Yeah.
even he couldn't do much about that dynamic
Yeah.
on that team.
Yeah, for sure. Well, even I was thinking too, like that playoff game, like he pulled his hammy warm up.
Yeah.
If we would have had him, man, I don't know. I think the game would have been different, but definitely our most important player for sure.
Yeah, the pizza story. All right. Anything to say at the end? Any other memories? We had some pretty good stories. This has been a long podcast.
Yeah, I think that's a good one, Liam. You'll have to definitely give out your email address so all the guilty people in your stories can email you.
My dad brought up one story. I don't know if Bill can fill in the details of this one. It was a story. I kind of remember it too. Maybe you guys remember it too. We were in Sault Ste. Marie or something like that. And I don't know what the game was, but I kind of vaguely remember Dino just ripping his shirt off.
Oh,
I was
getting
thinking
It's
my
Orangeville.
dad might tell that
and
story,
getting,
yeah.
and getting into it with like the other fans. And my dad says Tony came up to after the game. He's like, Dino, if you're gonna act like that, you can't be wearing the chill gear. You gotta wear your own gear.
Yeah.
You can't be behaving like this. Or like something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know what the exact context was, but Dino was a character, eh?
Well, for sure.
Yeah. I got one more, a recent story. It was in the chat. I was talking about like the big brawl after men's league game. Local villain, Juventus. So I don't know. We tied them 1-1, and they got a red card, and we probably should have scored another one to win. And they were like kicking the ball. I kept like booting the ball out, and like the last minute, Pedro like boots the ball out of the hockey rink. So it's way out. Mac Pettit can't open the gate. It's like the hockey gate to get the ball because like it's locked from the outside. So Lento there is reffing, and he's like, Marco Clistro's timekeep. He's like, Marco, stop the clock. And then Pedro just starts yelling, he's like, why the fuck you stopping the clock? And he's like, he told me to. And they're just fucking bickering back and forth for the last minute. Like we don't end up scoring, and it ties 1-1. And like there wasn't too much beef in the game, so everyone on our team's like, all right, we tie 1-1, good result. We're going to shake hands, and then Marco comes storming out in the field, and just like him and Pedro just start cussing at each other, and everyone just kind of looking like, what the fuck's going on here? And then like Sully gets into it too, and they're both fucking like cussing at Marco, and they're both cussing back so loud. And like Nick Chip had a turn, so he's like, Pike, do something. So we kind of like grab them and like separate them, but like that was just like the most like unexpected thing I've ever seen in a soccer game.
It was the first time I've ever seen a timekeeper and players beef on the field.
Like the
Even
yell
up
was
to
going
Marco
on
for
for a
that.
good 5 minutes minimum.
And
Oh,
Francesco made matters worse.
Oh yeah, I forgot to even mention him. Fuck.
By the way, talking about starting fives, Marco got to be one of the most skilled players I've ever played with in terms of finishing. Marco
Yeah.
could put a ball wherever he wanted, man.
You know what? I used to, when you guys were younger, I would take turns in net to give the goalie a break in that. I could never tell where Marco was shooting. Out of all the players, I could never, ever tell where he was shooting.
Yeah, we bagged him to play in our men's league team, but
Washroom.
we wanted to play Division 3 instead, I guess.
oh yeah, I'd vouch that, Bill. He was a lethal finisher. He would give you the eyes too. He would just
Yeah.
he'd always go open foot, so you can never really tell exactly. Like most guys, it'd be like if they're gonna go open foot, they're gonna like go back far post. Like if they're gonna hit laces, it's kind of like whatever. But
Yeah.
he would just open his foot up and then just cut across you like last second.
Yeah, he's really good
Yeah,
opening
you-
his foot
you
for
could
sure.
never
Yeah.
tell where he was shooting.
Yeah, he definitely didn't have one. Like most guys, unless they're playing at like a high level, they're pretty predictable with how they're shooting the ball.
Yeah.
But he would just open the foot up and just put it wherever he wanted. Shout out to our former co-host, eh?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to to all the people that we beefed on. I'm looking forward to them filling up the email, the Badger Bets and BPL email with their sides of the story.
Wait, just go back to that last story. Was that Sav that was reffing? Is that what he said?
No. His brother.
Nick Lento.
Nick
refs.
Lento.
Oh, I was gonna say,
No, I wasn't
I
Sav.
can't imagine Sav reffing a game, guys.
No.
All right,
Good
Liam,
luck.
wrap it up so we could ring in the new year.
Yep, that's true. We are going to go ring in the new year. And yeah, that was an awesome episode. I don't know, whoever listens to all that, good for you guys. Hopefully it's some of the guys that participated in some of those stories. Actually, I was going to say one of my last ones was most embarrassing moment in Vancouver. We went to Vancouver. I scored 2 own goals. Both of them on Sandy, almost a third own goal where I almost chipped him from half on a bouncing ball. And it bounced, it went over Sandy, bounced on the ground, and bounced over the net. Not close to going in. Thank God for the bouncy ground. But I remember the second own goal was in our last game, and we were playing with Patrick. And there's Carol there. Good to see
Hi, Carol.
ringing in the new year, Mrs. Davidson Hunt. And we were playing with Patrick, and my second own goal on Sandy was just like, I remember heading the ball, but I got bumped in the air. So I kind of went from heading it out to heading it into our net, and Patrick's on the post, and Patrick's always good for a good one-liner, just like a chirp. And I score it, and it's dead silent because we were up in the game, and it was like last minute I score an own goal, and you just hear Patrick on the line, oh, another fucking own goal. It's my second of the tournament. And looking back, yeah, just hilarious.
Another funny one was that first game of that tourney when I got the sending off like 50 minutes in from tackling guy on a breakaway. And so like I take the captain band off, and Bill's like, oh, Watson's the like vice captain, give it to him. So I give it to him. And then, like, I guess Watson gets subbed off, and like just looking for someone to give the captain band to. And he like jogs, like Liam's playing center back at the time. And Watson's just like a striker, right wing, and he jogs to Liam, like just pulls a U-turn, and doesn't give the band to him, and just like goes and gives it to Patrick. I remember just like me with a red car, like all fucking pissed off, just had a chuckle at that.
Yeah, good times for sure. All right, I think that's it for our stories of our amateur youth careers, and something extended from us. Happy New Year, guys.
What's
you
the
for
email,
joining.
Liam?
The email is banterbetsandbpl@gmail.com. If you're a villain in one of these stories, get in touch with us. Maybe tell us the true, unbiased version. I know Patrick's a big listener. Maybe he's been in and out of these stories. Maybe he'll contribute. But yeah, banterbetsandbpl, all one word, all words, @gmail.com. Let us know your favorite childhood memory with us as players. Maybe Duncan will give this a listen, and shout himself out as the first ever Kenora Rovers goal scorer. Another good
Duncan
memory.
Disorderly.
Duncan Disorderly. Too many to name. Thanks for listening, guys. We did do bets at the start of this program. Hopefully you listened a little longer than that, but let's start the new year off with a nice profit, and with Manchester United going top of the table tomorrow with a 10-0 win at Aston Villa, right, Pike?
They're gonna win
or against Aston Villa, yeah, 10-0. All right, Brother Keegs, Sandy, Bill, Dad, Chris Pike, thank you guys so much for joining.
Happy New Year.
From all of us here, Happy New Year. And thanks for listening to BBB. And we'll see you guys in the new year with some more episodes.